Welcome, 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 everybody. Hello, chat.
Hi. We're
Follow
so
Train when?
excited.
Right now. You should be supporting all of the folks that are in this chat right now. Oh my God. And I am excited to be with Snackless. Snackless, you're hosting your first show on
It's my
backslash
first
Twitch today.
show on Black Sash Twitch. I'm so excited. If I'm being honest, I'm a little nervous. It kind of feels like when you haven't streamed in a minute, if you've ever had that experience, I'm sure you have, or if you remember your very first stream, it's akin to that. Also, like your first day of teaching, it's the same sort of feeling where you feel a little nervous.
You
But
got
that's
those
okay. I'm so
butterflies.
excited. Yes, I'm so excited to welcome you all to today's show, Creator Camp Live. This is very exciting and the start of something very cool and our new monthly show. So, welcome on in. We're very excited to have you on this journey and we can't wait to dive in. If you haven't met me before, my name is Snackless. I've been a creator on Twitch. This is going into my 10th year. I also have my Bachelor of Education and was a kindergarten teacher for 9 years prior to getting into content creation and then being on Twitch at the same time. I've joined Twitch earlier in 2024 and I've been working on everything kind of education there with Jay, and it's been absolutely awesome. So it is my great pleasure to introduce you to Jay at Twitch, and I'll let them dive into what they do here.
Amazing. Hi, everybody. I am Jay or John or a Kawaiiguy across the interwebs. I've been a broadcaster for the past 20 years. I'm also the director of community here at Twitch. So if you're a member of our lovely Unity guilds, if you are an ambassador, if you've attended any of our meetups, all those programs I work on this end with an amazing team, including with Snackless on all of the Creator Camp updates that we have been preparing for all of you. So welcome to our first of hopefully many Creator Camp shows. I'm very excited to be here, Snackless, as a guest. This feels good.
Yes, we've kind of done a role reversal, so this is very cool. I'm in charge. I'm in charge. Speaking of that, let me tell you a little bit about this show and kind of the idea behind it. So Creator Camp is meant to be an interactive educational show where we teach you all about streaming essentials. You're going to learn about content creation, community building, branding, technical aspects, monetization, secret Twitch tips, and more. So, whether you've been streaming for a long time, you're new to the service, you've taken a break, and you want to come back, this is the perfect show for you to take something away. So, we are very, very excited to have this as the start of many shows. So, welcome to episode 1. So let's jump in a little bit to tying in Creator Camp, the site, with our show. So this show is known as Creator Camp Live, but Creator Camp also exists on its own as a site. And so Creator Camp is there to help you become a better streamer. And we have been working diligently and we've been very dedicated to putting some new updates together for you on the site. And I'm so thrilled to let you know that those are going to go live next week. But if you watch closely today, you will actually see some clips, videos, kind of sneak peeks, B-roll in the background of what's to come. So when that update comes out next week, Creator Camp will receive updates to all 4 pathways at the start. So that's going to teach you about the basics of Twitch and getting to know Twitch, how to go live with ease if you're new to that, or you want to try a different way of going live, for example, mobile. You'll also learn about building a comprehensive brand and the ins and outs to creating a community. So it's going to be absolutely awesome. And I can't wait to show you what's been going on there. So make sure you check it out. We'll be sure to notify all of you across our socials and our guilds and everywhere that we post when the update goes live. So just keep an eye on what is coming along.
Can we get a sneak peek of that? Do we have any B-roll that we can give like a little taste of what it's going to look like? Oh, what?
Look, I'm
New
so
updates, new
excited.
images, new videos are coming onto these pages. I was very excited, obviously, working with Snackless on the inside to get this all going. Exactly. Wow, beautiful. It is so beautiful. We're very excited about this. And there's going to be so much more coming too. This is just the start of the additions, as Snackless was talking about. So it's a fresh update. Check it out once it is live. And we're anticipating it will be soon. A little trademark logo right underneath that. So get excited.
Yes.
Something about today's show as well, interwebs, is this is interactive. I know there was a question that just came in. Is this a VOD from the previous episode we did? This is not a VOD. This is live. We're doing it
Oh,
live,
yeah.
internet. Everything is live that's happening. So that means you can ask questions. At the end of today's show, we will have a Q&A portion. If you want to ask a question about any of the topics that we're covering today, like don't ask me to help get your friend unbanned, they got to do that on their own. Don't ask those questions. What I would love for you to do, ask questions about some of the theories, the things we're talking about, and we will dive into those at the end of today's show. But Snackless, I'd love for you to kick it off. We got a lot of topics to cover today.
We do. And I'm very excited. So, we're going to be starting at the base today and building on today's knowledge. So, we hope that even if you are a veteran streamer, you'll be able to take something away, even though you may know the majority of the things we're going to touch on today. So, today we're going to be talking about streaming on Twitch in general. So, everything from etiquette to rules, emotes, and alerts. We're here to give you new ideas, inspiration, and tips for successful streams. So, make sure you keep an ear open and an open mind to some of the insider things we're going to share with you today. So, let's talk about Twitch. Twitch stands out through its offer of a perfect blend of entertainment, community, and real time engagement. And that's what makes Twitch so cool and so unique. Millions of viewers and creators come together every day on our service to form genuine connections through shared experiences. And that is just such a cool thing and such a special thing about Twitch. So, diving more into culture and what exactly makes Twitch special. Why should you consider utilizing Twitch as a service? What makes us stand out? Jay, can you share a little bit about your thoughts
Sure.
on why Twitch is so special?
Sure. When I talk with a lot of folks about Twitch, and it's interesting because I discovered Twitch back when it was Justin TV is when I got my start with it. And before that, I was a full-time YouTuber. That's where I had created my base, and this was post university and all that. I kind of landed into YouTubing. And the glory about Justin TV and eventually into Twitch was that it's similar to, for those who are theater goers or any individuals who used to perform in theater, there's the concept of a black box theater, which is basically a space that can be converted into whatever you want it to be, and it is your own space to create your content, tell a story, connect with individuals, and that is really what Twitch is at the core. So when I thought about bridging out of the VOD experience of just, creating a nice little short sketch comedy bit or doing gaming videos on YouTube, I wanted to have a space that was lively, that I could connect with people and actually form that interpersonal connection that I used to experience when I was on stage. And so that's what the magic of Twitch to me is that it is the closest equivalent to being in a live theater that we can get in this internet experience. And so that is what drove me to the magic of Twitch. And from there, I mean, in my chat, there's people who have ended up in relationships. There's people who have gotten married. I know some of my fans who, started their Japanese language learning because they were inspired by me doing that. Like I saw the evolution over the years of all these amazing things start to come up. And it's beautiful to see that happen in real time. And like even like with the chat going right now, seeing it in real time and having this moment, that is can't be achieved elsewhere unless you're in person with somebody. And I absolutely love it. It's the third space we needed. I shout out what Dynamite said there. It is the space we needed. Absolutely.
Definitely. And I think that's a huge part about why people choose to create on Twitch and what does make Twitch special. I think the real-time connection is definitely that's something that stands out for me and something that I really enjoy conversing with my community, conversing with other streamers. Even if you're a creator on Twitch, I'm sure you've also had the feeling where you go into someone else's stream and you also want to be seen. You also want to say hi. You want to be a part of the inside jokes, all of the cool things, the emotes, the raids, the inside jokes and secrets that go on in that channel. You want to be involved in all of that. So I can completely understand that as well. Another thing that makes Twitch very special is your ability to develop your own community. So that's kind of aligned with what Jay just shared, but streamers create a space for people to belong. And you are in charge of the community that you curate. And that is such a cool thing and something that we always need to keep in mind is that you and your community are a reflection of each other. And we're going to dive a little bit more in that
Mhm.
in a moment. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about etiquette. With every broadcast you create, you represent yourself, your brand, and your community. Your actions and words during streams directly impact how your community develops and behaves. The standards that you set and maintain will attract viewers who share similar values. Etiquette on Twitch is something that we need to think about, and something I would encourage you to continue to think about as you grow, as you create content on Twitch, and might change for you. The trends come and go, and sometimes we need to look at those and think if they're a good fit for the type of content we create and if they match our goals in mind. You represent yourself in your own channel, in other channels, and through your community. It's really important to make a decision about how you want to be seen. And it's going to impact you as you continue to grow. It can impact you in collaborating with other streamers, in getting different brand deals, in sponsorships. So I would encourage you to continue to do research, continue to reflect on how your community is developing, and also know that no one is perfect. When you are creating a live show, nothing goes exactly according to plan. And this is something that I'm sure we'll touch on a few times in today's show. And if you if you make a decision on stream and you want to roll that back, it's okay. No one expects perfection, and it's okay to be honest about those things, especially as you continue to grow and have more people around you and in your stream. Jay, can you talk a little bit about how important it is to represent yourself and what streamers can think about or consider when they think about that topic?
No, for sure. There was it was actually funny. I was chuckling to myself a moment ago because I saw Barnesdale say, "Well, that's where I'm missing. I don't have any values." We all have values. We all have the type of experience that we want to experience together, and that can come from you know the things that you love, how you want to be showcased all across the interwebs, the types of clothing that you wear, your background that represents like all of these are elements that start to tell an audience member of what you stand for. I like to call it like, for example, I have tattoos of all my game characters and things I love all across, my arms, my body, etc. And those are ways that you can introduce to yourself to other people to find that like language and the things of which you can connect with. And so it's very important to have a stance or a perspective before you dive into broadcasting or before you do any show, because when you think about ultimately the connections of which you want to make, people aren't going to attach themselves to you because of just a game that you're playing. There's hundreds of thousands of other people playing the games out there. You need to have a unique approach or perspective or a way that you showcase the entertainment of what you want to showcase. This person shouted out that I have bad audio. If that may be my shtick, for those who've watched Tyler One, that is scuffed AF. If you ever watch their broadcast, their audio quality is absolute junk. So it's one of those things of like you attach these elements of your personality through the way you display yourself, and that is what is going to ring true for your audience coming in.
Yes, and also what people will remember you by, because I'm sure that the two of you will remember each other for those comments. And that is what creating live content is like, and that is what establishing boundaries for yourself is like. And so, on to summarize that, I would encourage you to establish clear rules and boundaries. There's a feature where you can have your rules pop up before someone first starts in your chat, and that is definitely something I would encourage you to utilize. And I would also encourage you to develop and curate a space that you are comfortable in, which means don't be afraid to let someone know if they're stepping on your toes, if they've gone past a boundary, if they've made you uncomfortable, to ban people. When I was a new streamer, I was very scared to ban people. And you don't have to be. It's your space and your place, and you should always feel comfortable there, and so should your community.
Absolutely.
Talking more about what makes Twitch special, and something that I love to talk about, and you'll see a lot in the Creator Camp update, are emotes. Emotes are used across Twitch to transcend text. They can communicate emotions, reactions, and inside jokes. Emotes also serve as a visual vocabulary that is exclusive to your community and help with fostering deeper connections within your community. Gosh, do I ever love a good emote? Have you ever subscribed to someone just for their emotes? I'm sure that you have. Emotes are small little images that are meant to express or convey excitement, surprise, sadness, frustration. More, to be honest, an emote can convey anything that you want it to, truly. And there are so many to pick from. There are such great emotes. Can we have a show and chat of an emote that stands out to you? For whatever reason that is, I always love to see a unique emote. I also really like it when emotes kind of trend. I feel like over the past few years, there's this emote trend of someone offering you a flower. And I think it's so sweet. I just absolutely love that trend. And it's so, I find it funny when you find yourself envious of someone else's emote. There's
I
lots
lo-
of cute ones in there.
I love the emotes that are being showcased because when you look at them, they say it's like a picture is worth a thousand words. Emotes are the same thing. They can fill that gap when it comes to saying something. You can say the entire thing with the emotes, like the GG emotes that I see that are common. Eyeball of like, oh, what's going on over there type of vibe. There's the the Elmo right there I just saw who's like, "Wah." There's great ways to showcase all of your expressions, your emotions, and when you're crafting emotes for yourself as a creator, you want to capture an emotional state or a phrase visually that your audience can initiate at some point during a broadcast, during a win, during a fail, during a moment that they loved. Those are all things to be thinking about when you're developing the emotes. And it's just wild to see how many variants there are out there.
Yes, I love that. And can become a part of your community, a part of your chat. You know, if you're known for screaming very loudly when you're scared, or you're known for, I don't know, maybe swearing, hiding, being shocked, being scared, whatever that is, your emotes kind of take on a life of their own. And that's another part of Twitch that is so cool. If you're not familiar with emotes, custom emotes are also available. Those are the majority of the emotes you are seeing scrolling in the chat. All monetized creators on Twitch have the ability to create still and animated emotes for their channel, and they can continue to unlock as they grow. So they'll have more and more available to them. So let's touch a little bit deeper on emotes. Jay, can you talk to us about what makes a good emote? Because it's very easy to
Mm,
create an emote, it's not so easy to create an effective one.
sure. Well, I know that many creators will create emotes that are specific to their community, right? I have that with the Kawaiiguy crew on my channel. I have emotes that are very specific to the community of being like associated with my in jokes or anything that we're covering. What makes for a great emote is something that is universal or could be shared across multiple channels beyond your own. And when you think of it, when you're welcoming in new viewers, if they're not a part of the club yet, how can you welcome them into the club? So there can be some emotes, like, for example, my most standard emote, which actually I have tattooed on my hand here, is the Kawaii heart, which I just posted in the email. It's a very standard of just showing love. We're here. It's just in a moment of appreciation. That could be potentially universal, as opposed to, let's say, for example, this one I'm posting in the chat, which is me doing the ah, yeah, yeah, yeah thing, right? That could be applied, but there's so many other variants that it's really specific to my channel. Whereas, here we go, dancing Pikachu can be applied on multiple. So you want to be thinking about, is the emote being created solely for my channel? Is it to be utilized and posted across many other channels? That's a great way for your community to show the representation and support of you on other broadcasters, but it also adds to that level of recognizability when people start to see, oh, wait, that's yours. That's your emote. And I've seen that across multiple channels. And that does occur with like the Pixel Heart for me, for example.
Yes, absolutely. I've had people come to my stream and say they subscribed for my hug emote, which is a Totoro, but we'll just keep that on the down low. It's very cute if you're looking for one. But yes, we do have situations where people subscribe to you just for your emote. Or Apples is kind of a bit of my branding to go with snacks. And I ran into someone and their name was like Ye Old Apple. And then they were like, you have an Apple emote. And I was like, yes, please use this. This is great. So you never know when you'll stumble across someone who might find a use for your emote. A few tips from Twitch on emotes are: make sure your emote is easy to interpret. If the goal is for a wider audience, then we want to make sure that our wider audience has the ability to understand that versus it being more like an inside joke or something unique to your community. Double check that your emote works with both light and dark mode. We know that people utilize both of those, even if dark seems to be the preference. We want to make sure our emotes look both good in light and dark. And we want to track emote usage in your Twitch analytics. So I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the Twitch analytics tab in your creator home and your creator dashboard area can give you a lot of insight. And we'll dive into analytics a little bit deeper in a further episode, but there is a space in there where you can track your emotes and see which one is being used the most, which one is popular, if it's used in your channel or out, which emotes aren't being utilized, and it can be really enlightening. So I would definitely encourage you to check that out.
Yep. And if you see emotes that aren't being used, feel free to replace them. Analyze what works well for your community, go in there, swap them out. I know some people do seasonality emotes, so they'll change it out based on holidays that are occurring. You could always do that. But remember, like, quality is a good moment that's just been shouted out by Khaled. Is just like that is something to think about. Does it look good in scale on those colors, as you mentioned, with the dark mode or light mode? And then see, what works best for you. It can be a secret superpower, as your turn, my
Mhm.
turn says. It's true. Emotes
Yes,
can be a secret superpower.
definitely. And there's lots of cool ways that we can use emotes. And so just keep your eyes and your ears open to how other people utilize them. And don't be afraid to take an idea and spin it into your own. So, we're going to touch briefly on policies, guidelines, and terms because if you are just getting started on Twitch or you're coming back, these are things that we need to consider. So, as a streamer, ensuring that your channel experience is a positive one should always be a priority. Several rules, guidelines, and policies are in place to keep you and your community safe. So, things that we can think about are policies. So, the policies of Twitch are rules that guide all users of Twitch. The guidelines define how users can participate on Twitch in a way that promotes a friendly, positive experience for our entire community. And lastly, terms are the rules about purchases of products, services, and digital content. So you can become more familiar with rules, policies, guidelines, and terms, pardon me, on our Creator Camp site. And they're a great place to use as a reference. If you are ever going to do something on Twitch and you think to yourself, should I be doing this on Twitch? That is when I would suggest that you check the policies, guidelines, and terms. If you're doing some sort of giveaway, or if you even have a sponsored stream and you're not really sure about some of those things, that's a really great resource. So I just want to remind you that it does exist and we encourage you to utilize it when necessary or needed. But we're going to move
Absolutely.
into something a little bit more fun about what you need to stream
Mm.
because you could need a lot or a little. So, broadcasting technology and trends change frequently. Everyone's setup is a little bit different, and what works best varies from person to person. Your ideal setup is going to be a balance between technical considerations, the content that you create, your budget, and more. So, while we don't have a solve all for what you need to stream, we do have some tips that we are going to share with you that will hopefully guide you in your journey of content creation. So, in summary, you don't need a lot to start a stream on Twitch. You can start a stream easily using what you have. And so we're going to get Jay to talk a little bit about how simple it can be to stream with a PC, a mobile phone, or a console, and how it doesn't have to be as overwhelming as it can look.
Yeah, and I feel you, Storm Creeper. You're saying my budget equals negative 117. I feel you on that. Now, there's a few ways that you can approach in broadcasting. Obviously, we're talking about like think about your values and how you're going to showcase that. There's pre-prep that goes in before you go live that you should be thinking about. What do I want to showcase? How am I going to like present myself? And then what is available to me? For most individuals, a phone is immediately available to you. You can go live from your phone, having an IRL just chatting stream, or like, place the phone up on against the wall. I did that once while I was painting a room. That could be a start of a broadcast. It's very simple with a single button press on the phone to do so. You can also start with a laptop. I literally started with a laptop on Justin TV era. I had a beat up laptop plugged into a hacked USB device that was connected to a Super Nintendo so I could broadcast Super Mario World. So that you can start with the base essentials in that. I know some individuals like experiment with emulation. I know if you use crowd control, that's an aspect that you could do using emulation. There's some individuals that start with literally just their console. And some, like with the new PlayStations, you have your mic built into your controller. You could feed that through with no camera. You're literally just playing the game. I know ambassadors who started that way, where it was no cam, no overlays, just the game, but they had a personality that came through in the microphone. When I think of the greatest asset for Twitch, and I think it's going to be interesting because the chat will call me out because my sound was borked there for a while, and hopefully it's a little bit better now that I lowered the gain. Sound on Twitch is absolutely vital when it comes to the retention of a broadcaster. When you think of watching a TV show, especially with streaming devices, if you're watching on Netflix, sometimes it can get pixelated for a moment and then it right sizes. You're willing to wait through that. But if the sound is bad, you will immediately leave. You'll be like, nope, can't do that. And it was actually funny because Peanut Butter Rampage is in the chat, played a song from a Broadway show last night for me, and the sound I could not take, and I had to stop listening to it. It's one of those things that you just can't get away with. And so the necessities could be, you could start with your phone. You could start with a laptop, do a basic OBS build with what your system can power. Over time, you could expand to a desktop PC. I know people who operate with dual PCs. I've instead opted for a single PC setup for all my broadcasts. I just got a larger graphics card over time thanks to sub support. So everything can grow with time, but start with the essentials. And the essential is you having a perspective and something to share. And if you don't have that to start, you're probably not going to find an audience that attracts themselves to you. So that's what I think to start, at least, Snackless.
Absolutely. I agree. I also started streaming. Well, first I was a console streamer and I had a really old MacBook at the time from when I was in university, and it would get so hot. It would completely overheat sitting on the couch beside me. And I would play a Destiny PvP game, and then I would pick up my laptop and read the comments, and then I would put it back down beside me. Would I recommend that? No. But that's where I started. And we all started somewhere, and it's great to
We
keep that in
all
mind.
started, and I think that's something I always hear from like starting broadcasters or individuals who are trying to find their audience. Everybody starts at zero. Everybody starts at zero, and you have to figure out where's your place in the ecosystem or what tools am I going to use, and then you build over time. Now, granted, some people starting at zero may have more financial capital or connections or what have you, but we all start there, and it's okay that we start there. And each person's journey is going to be different. So it's one of those
Yes.
things you got to really think about.
Yes, it's tough when you see a lot of people if there's a new graphics card that comes out or something cool or a new mic, and Elgato pop-up green screen, and you're like, "Oh, I would love to have those things." It's okay to make a plan. And I would encourage you
Hmm.
to choose your priorities and make a plan. Everything doesn't have to happen at once. And know that even though sometimes it looks like everyone else has the newest best of everything, that's not necessarily the case. It is simple to get started on Twitch, and you can always use what you have and build off of that. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of audio and video, so we've touched on audio a bit, but I will let you know that audio will be the most consistently challenging part of your stream, and dare I say, annoying. It is very normal to have audio problems, and it is okay to solve them as you go. Your PC may update overnight, and you will come back, and all of a sudden, your OBS is like, you don't have a microphone. And you're like, but wait, I actually do have a microphone. And they're like, I don't see it. So you clearly don't have one. That's a normal experience for all of us. If you've ever started a stream on mute, you can put your hand in the chat. Okay. You're
See?
muted.
I was
Have
literally
they said that
illustrating
to
a
you?
point right now, like as Twitch mentioned, I was illustrating a point. I had borked audio to start. I made a live adjustment. Hopefully it's decent for folks. It's one of those things of when you're broadcasting, you have to be comfortable with the fact of something will go awry, especially if you do a Windows update. Sweet heavens, OBS completely borks out every single time. You've
Yeah.
got to continually be comfortable with it's live, you're adjusting. If you ever tuned into those live concerts that get rebroadcast on like cable, or well, cable's no longer a thing. Any of the streaming services, I'll say that. I just dated myself there. Remember back in the day when TVs were a dial internet?
I was on
Um
Justin TV.
exactly.
Sorry, please continue.
No, but it's one of those things of you have to be comfortable to always roll with the fact of this is improv. It is live.
Yes.
It is meant to have these things, and nothing will ever be absolutely perfect. And in fact, striving for striving for perfection. Say that 5 times fast. Striving for protection, not protection, for perfection will never be achieved, and it has never been achieved in any entertainment medium ever. So don't worry about that, and don't be hard on yourself if it's not perfect.
Yes, it's okay. Our recommendation for audio, as you make a plan in video and you continue to grow, my number one recommendation, people come to me and they have questions about actually anything, mostly like, how do I grow my stream? Have you watched your VOD? I know we're going to
Mm.
dive into that in a future episode. I saw someone in chat asking if we talked about marketing. We will talk about marketing and branding in depth in a future upcoming episode. We'll be having monthly episodes of Creator Camp Live. So stay tuned for that. But what I will say is please listen to and watch your VOD. It will be very enlightening. It can help you understand how you sound, how you look, and give you ideas on where you can start to make improvements. And making small adjustments as you go is okay. Nothing is fixed overnight, as Jay shared.
And there was a question, what is VOD? So when we refer to VOD, and
Oh,
always catch us if we're using any sort of abbreviated terms, VOD means video on demand. So watching a video on YouTube is a VOD. Watching your replay of a broadcast would be a VOD. So when we say
yes.
VOD, that's what we mean by that.
Yes. And please also, a suggestion in chat, people are saying watch your VOD. You can also have a friend watch your VOD or have a mod watch your VOD. Those are great strategies as well. You can lean on regular community members and your moderation team to also assist you with that. So let's talk a bit about setting up your stream now. You can set up your stream for success by utilizing your creator dashboard. There you will find your stream manager, which has everything you need to get your stream started. So, we mentioned at the start of this Creator Camp Live episode that even if you are a veteran streamer on Twitch or you've been here a long time or you're already partnered, that we hope to give you insider Twitch tips and inspiration. Another thing I'd like to give you is this perspective of that sometimes we use a Twitch tool or we do something and we've been doing it the same way for a long time. And we forget to consider and ask ourselves, is this the best way to do something? Or am I utilizing this tool in the most effective way? So, from tags to titles, Twitch has the tools to help new viewers find your stream through your dashboard. So, we want you to rethink the way that you use simple tools. So, I'd love for Jay to talk a little bit about how they utilize the dashboard in
Hmm,
different ways.
for sure. So primary aspects here. Obviously, as you see highlighted here on the screen, quick actions are great means for typically for me for after broadcast moments. So, for example, when I'm trying to choose somebody to raid to, there's a raid quick action that I can activate. You can activate your polls and different meaningful ways to engage by using those toolkits. But when it comes to the dashboard, priority for me is the title of my broadcast and the go live notification. And these are things that should be unique to the broadcast each and every time and should communicate clearly to an audience in a singular batch of words what is going to be achieved. So, let's say you're doing an Elden Ring run on a particular difficulty. You want to make sure you're communicating that in your title. In your go live notification, you have to be thinking about what gets a person in the door that, previously had followed me, has notifications on, what incites an action from them to come back. So think of it of like you walk through a mall. What is the advertisement outside of a store that gets you to step into the store? And it can either be funny, edgy. It can highlight the mission that you're on or the goal that you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to beat a boss, you could be communicating like, tonight I take down this boss. Join me. It's going to happen in the first half hour. You can always communicate those things up front. I will say the most successful go live notification, and anybody who's ever heard me speak at TwitchCon, I always reference my greatest go live notification was I said to my audience, I have never watched a single episode of SpongeBob. I bet it's not that great. And the number of people that showed up to argue that SpongeBob is wonderful, and also how did I miss out on watching that cartoon in my life? It was an immediate success in terms of getting people in the door. I see
Right.
even Twitch is angry at me. I may have to talk to HR about this concept here a little later. but it was a thing that got people in the door.
It was effective. Okay, this is what we're talking about. You can make any kind of title, any kind of go live message that you like, as long as it adheres to our TOS. But is it doing anything for you? Is
Mm,
it effective? I would encourage you to look at those things, your title and your go live message specifically, and think, what is the best way that I can utilize this? Twitch is giving me a way to basically ping everybody's phone. What am I going to say to them to get them in the door? Personally, I give them a pickup message. So I put a pickup line in my go live message, and it's always matched to stream. So if we're doing something like a farming game, it'll be like about like a farming pickup line or a Destiny pickup line, whatever I'm doing. And that's what works for me. And so it's an incentive, you know, I won't tell you what the pickup line is unless you have go live notifications on. So if you missed it about digging in the dirt in the garden, then I'm very sorry. But I cannot possibly tell you my secret pickup line. So there are many ways that you can utilize Twitch's tools. I would encourage you to think about what the best way is to utilize them for you. Two other things we can touch on are the category. Just remember that you can always change your category during your stream. If you start your stream chatting with people and catching up with them, consider using the just chatting category. It's a very popular category on Twitch. And then just remember to change that as you go along. And also with your tags, with both category and tags, it is wise to do a little bit of research. You can explore tags on Twitch, see what kind of streams people are utilizing what tags in, and which ones might work best for you. So, basically, in summary, do not sleep on your Twitch dashboard. Okay.
it's true.
Utilize what is there, utilize what Twitch has given you. It could be more effective than you think.
And I love that Twitch is continuing to call out the SpongeBob thing. Look, the only episode I'm aware of is chocolate. Something about chocolate. Got to get into the
Okay. I'll
chocolate.
schedule a meeting. Our next meeting, we can watch my favorite episode.
There we
I'll
go.
have to
Okay.
think about which one that is, but there I can't
We'll have a
believe
beat too.
honestly you would get a kick out of Plankton. Plankton is the villain. The
I I
villain.
I love that you're associating me with villain culture. No, but when you were thinking about categories as well, think about the density of the category that you're about to broadcast in. Like, Monster Hunter Wilds is huge right now. Lots of people are diving in on it and broadcasting it.
Mhm.
If you are a starting broadcaster or a growing broadcaster, is this the right time for you to hop in on Monster Hunter Wilds, or do you want to wait until the high, typical density broadcasters step away so there's more potential room for you to grow and attract in that audience? So you want to kind of think about those categories, and we'll dive into in a future episode how you determine categories, how you can use analytics to determine those categories. Uh, my habit, everybody's. I've ruined the entire show because of my SpongeBob reference, and you know what? I'll
I
live
wouldn't
with
say
it.
it's a ruinous. Honestly, if it gets Jay to watch a SpongeBob episode, we have succeeded, chat. We have succeeded. I would say, dare say, this has been a success. Honestly, I love a good
Hey,
SpongeBob
I will just
episode.
drink my coffee and question my life's choices as a result.
Don't worry, I'll also put a SpongeBob cup in your Amazon cart so you can enjoy yeah, SpongeBob coffee
There we are.
while we Okay, so another area on your creator home that you can utilize that Twitch has provided are alerts. So most people who tune into a stream on Twitch are seeking a way to be actively involved in your show or connect with you directly. Alerts are a way that you can showcase awesome moments and boost engagement by giving viewers a way to participate visually and also auditorily if you have audio associated with that. So, you can create an alert on your dashboard and then add them to OBS. There are many different platforms that allow you to create alerts. Twitch is not the only one. It's just that Twitch has also given you the option to create alerts within our own site. And there's some very cool ones. They already are providing you with a plethora of sounds you can choose from, a plethora of cute images and GIFs that you can utilize. So, especially if you're someone who's just starting out, or if Twitch has a new feature and you haven't been able to incorporate your branding into that feature yet, but you still want to have an alert, that's a great way that you can utilize that. Something that I use, I love having cohesive branding, and that'll be something we dive into in a future episode. And alerts is one way we can do that. But the coolest part about alerts on Twitch are celebrations. So even if you have existing alerts that you've already set up and you don't want to redo them, you can add a celebration to an alert, and those come up as fireworks from the or there's like a blast from the bottom of your screen with your emotes. It can come up as fireworks across the stream. They're very cool, and they also go across your whole Twitch screen, which is something only Twitch alerts and celebrations can do. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Let's talk a little bit about why you should even consider adding alerts to your stream. Jay, can you dive into that a bit about why
Sure.
it's important to consider that and take time to add them in?
Sure, and it applies to a mindfulness, like, we were talking about, like, shaping your space. I referenced the black box theory that you can make your experience in your broadcast whatever you want it to be. The same thing applies for when it comes to audience interactivity and how you want them to appear on your show. So, alerts could be utilized for acknowledgement, obviously, for individuals that follow, subscriptions, for cheering. It could be a visual way of showcasing on broadcast without the need for a verbal shout out of a person contributing to your show. You can obviously, if you want to, shout out simultaneously while it's being visually displayed. But viewers love an ability to impact what you're doing as a broadcaster. And it's one of the components of this type of ecosystem that I think is something individuals should really think about and lean into a little bit deeper is how can a person manipulate the show of which you're creating within the parameters of what you're setting. So alerts are a means to do so. On channel point redemptions, you can also tie alerts to, for example. So while you're watching, you're earning channel points. You can use those channel points to impact the show visually. One of the most popular ones is exclamation point boo. On my show will create a boo command, and it ends up being it takes over the entire screen, and it's a gif of the moment from Beetlejuice where the shrimp take the people's face and tosses them back
Wait,
out of their
that's so
suits.
cute. I love
So
that
people can do
idea.
that, and it actually blasts into my headset a scream, and it can happen at any point that a person can use the alert to then scare me on my show, and
Wow.
they do that constantly to me.
As
So
they
those
should.
types of things can be come on, it's because of SpongeBob, right, that we're going deep on this? It's
It's
fine, we'll
good to
get there.
stay a little lively, you know?
You gotta stay lively, if you're getting a little too, we'll give you a little shock. There you go.
Yeah.
So, alerts are a great means for your audience to be visually represented and interact with the show in a way that recognizes them beyond just the chat. So, think about what are the ways that you would wanna do that, and you can do alerts more uniquely. I know alerts really haven't evolved as a concept in at least the past 10 years from my observations. But like, for example, when I'm watching Takahata 101, they're a great VTuber. Their follow alert, since they're in a bar aesthetic for their thing, is just a little bell at the top right that will ring saying, "Oh, a person's walked into the bar." That doesn't say who walked
Cute.
in. It's just a little animation of like somebody else stepped in, and it's just like seeing those types of executions are more unique. Curious Joy is another one who's been experimenting with that. But yeah, Snackless, go ahead.
Yes, I love that. I love someone taking a very simple Twitch tool and doing something different with it. Another shout out I'll give is Jenna's Online. I stole this idea from her. If you go to her channel, she has a daily redemption and she will give you a forehead kiss. And I was like, wow, first of all, I would like forehead kiss. And secondly, that's an excellent idea. And so I asked her a bit about it. And now in my chat, I have a daily apple. As I stated, apples are a big part of Snackless branding. And so you better come get your apple a day if you want to stay healthy. So now they can
It's
redeem
true.
an apple, and it's a different apple every time. So that's extra fun. But yes, consider taking another look at the tools that Twitch has given you and see if you can't come up with something fresh that suits you and your branding and your community. So we have a few recommendations that we are going to kind of dive into as we kind of roll things up. So, thinking of your Twitch stream as a show with a storyline can elevate your content from casual to engaging entertainment. This mindset helps to create structured, more meaningful experiences that keep viewers wanting to return for more. So, basically, what we are suggesting is that you consider viewing your stream as a show. And this is something that a lot of people do, but that Jay does and executes very, very well. I think probably coming from your background in theater and your background, your diverse background in everything creative. But it's a very cool way to think about the content that you are producing. And it helps you transform streaming moments into memorable chapters. So putting purpose behind everything you do. I think that's what we're trying to convey here is have purpose when using Twitch tools, have purpose when creating a title, have purpose when creating a stream and telling a story. Jay, can you talk to us a little bit about why we should view our stream as a show and how we can use a stream to tell a story?
Yeah, for sure. So if we think of most executions, or at least great show executions, across media, there's typically an arc that it will follow. It will be first the presentation of perhaps a challenge out the gate. Okay, what is going to be the thing of which we're up against? So you're communicating that forward. And that can happen within the title, as we mentioned. That can happen with the go live notification. And then it will be the introduction to the show, or the show's about to start. So in this case, on Snackless, they have a starting soon screen that they are resting on before going into their action. Starting soon screens are also incredibly valuable because Twitch notifications, as they're being sent out, does take time, and it takes time for then the user on the other end to get the notification, read it, click through. It gives you that additional time for the lead in the same way that a television show will, The Office has a very memorable theme that it will play every single time that you can look forward to. People are waiting for, okay, what is Michael Scott going to do in the episode? That is a lead in, and every show needs a lead in. Then when you're in the action of the show, you want to make sure that you're mindful towards the audience of we're building up to something, and then once that is achieved, the show is going to end because you want them to return for a future episode. So on my screen here, for example, while you're waiting to enter into my station, you're on the train. And so I've created a train graphic for my starting soon graphic. We're now entering into the action. In this case, I was beating Sonic this past weekend. So you're now into the game experience. And then as you close out, I always leave a same catchphrase every single time. Have a great today and an even better tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, I
And
like
so you
that.
want to have people know when to come back. This is something I learned back in my high school days when I worked at Wendy's. They never said, thank you so much for your order or whatever. They always say, we'll see you tomorrow. Because what that does to your viewer is it's planting the seed of, you can find me again here. If we look back at the 1960s Batman series, they would say, tune in next time on,
Oh,
to catch Batman
yeah.
chasing Eggman. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
Same concept. Bob Ross does the same. Mr. Rogers does the same. Like, when I'm
Mhm.
thinking of effective programming that lasted for tens of years in each one, that is what you wanna do with your show. And so this applies to when you're doing a game, when you beat a boss, perhaps where you close out. If you're doing a charity fundraiser and you set your goal to 500 and the community is celebrating that you got there, and then you immediately pivot and you say, "Okay, we're gonna increase it to 1,000." Your community is like, "Oh, well, I just spent the time getting you to 500." You might want to extend it to a second show to get them to come back. So it's
Oh,
things to
that's a
think
very
about,
good
but
idea.
structuring your show is being mindful towards your audience and what their commitment is to you. So
Absolutely.
that's how I think
Yes.
about it.
Yes, 100%. Thinking about things and having a reason for them, you know?
Mm,
It's not we don't suggest that you just have a starting screen because we said you should have a starting screen. You should think about a way that you can have a unique starting soon screen. The MAV show just got some new branding. It's when you and then the curtains will open and there she will be. It's very cool. It's a very unique way to utilize your branding and to interest people, right? There we are giving purpose to a countdown. I
yes.
know many years ago, Lupo in their like "Be Right Back," Dr. Lupo would have his chair pretending to play games. So the armrest of the chair would be like typing on the keyboard or like moving the mouse. And it was really funny. It was a funny and interesting thing to watch. I know some people utilize a game in their "Be Right Back" time. Basically, think about your show and think about maximizing and utilizing all of the moments in your show, not just hitting a go live button.
Yeah.
And
People love
also,
rituals as part of that.
yes,
People love rituals.
yes,
People love
yes.
a recurring theme that they can attach themselves to. Typically when you think of rituals, you think of like going to, let's say you're going to church or any other type of religious thing. There's always a ritual to the experience. They sing the hymn, you get the communion, you do all these things. There's the lesson that's taught for the day, and then the parting ways. Your audience is the same in constructing, and it's actually kind of funny because a lot of us call our communities sometimes cults or like collectives and stuff like that. We're looking for those rituals. For mine, the boo command has now become a ritual. Somebody's expecting somebody to scare me during a broadcast. Bell-chan, which is basically the Taco Bell logo, which, yeah, I have it tattooed on me, but with anime eyes, Bell-chan will appear if you're Baja Blessed. So, like, these things become rituals that audiences look forward to.
No, 100%.
And
If
I
you
wanna encourage
subscribe in
more.
my channel, I'll say that you're the apple of my eye for however
Yeah,
many, like, it's I say the same thing every time, and people know that I'm gonna say it. And
yes,
rituals are a really fun way to get people involved in any part of your stream, whether that's the beginning, the ending, the be right back sections. Those are definitely ways that we can be purposeful. Thank you so much for spending time and hanging out with us today. We are going to move into our Q&A section, and so we are going to be taking some questions and answering them that were asked throughout the broadcast. So if you have been a part of this stream and you've been hanging out, we might be able to answer your question. And in the future, if you ever have questions throughout the show, please pop them in the chat, and we will do our best to pull them to the side and be able to answer them. So we're going to get started with Jay selecting a
beautiful.
question.
Yeah, so there was one that was actually from a first-time chatter, that I'll address first, and I got a whole row here, and thanks to our producers. So can we get, like, hearts in the chat, please, for our producers behind the scene who've been grabbing your questions as you've been typing them, everybody? A person posted out the gate, the thoughts about follow for follow.
Mm.
Now, here's the thing when it comes for follow for follow. I will tell you, and I'm always very truthful with this, I don't care about follower count numbers because it is one person at one point in time who clicked a button, but there's no guarantee of them returning. If you do a follow for follow, how likely are you going to watch all those broadcasters that you followed? Likely not. So when we think of that, it's not really achieving much to the development of your business aside from a vanity metric and perhaps a nice, like, dopamine rush of like, "Oh, wow, look at that. Look what I got." It's not really something. So, I would say for those, if you want to, sure, you could do some type of exchange, but it doesn't really benefit your business in the long run. But the first question that came in here that we have log is from Bearded Pixel. When starting, how does one build culture and really develop the vibe you want? Do you wanna take a first stab at that, Snackless?
Yeah, I definitely can. So for me, I think about what is my goal and how does that align to who I am on stream and who I am as a person. So for me, I'm someone who is high on heavy chat engagement and interaction. I purposefully create moments where chat and I can spend time together. They can participate in stream, whether that's in the chat or in the game, or we're playing a Gartic game, something together. I really think about those things and then I use that to develop the type of community that I want.
Mm,
And I tie all of those things together. Something that you can also do is think about 3 words that best describe you that you would want to transfer to your community as they develop. So, do you want a place that is focused on being really, really welcoming? Like when somebody new comes to chat or somebody's popping in from the day, do you want everybody saying hello? Then you need to let your moderation team know that. You need to model that yourself. Don't be afraid to lean on people in your community to foster what you're looking for. That's how I went about developing kind of a friendly, upbeat, positive vibe. If that's not your vibe, then leaning into something different is also completely okay. Do you have anything to add to that one, Jay?
I would just say be cautious of overused terms, when it comes
Oh,
to the
you're
space
right.
when you're identifying those 3 things. So I hear a lot, "cozy." I often will hear it paired with "cozy chaotic." That means nothing to me. That's polar opposites of an experience. That means nothing to me. I don't know what to expect. Uh Family friendly is pretty understood, but you could just say, my content is geared in this particular direction. Variety. If a person says, I'm a variety broadcaster, that does not tell me anything about you other than I have no idea what I'm going to get. And if I'm going to subscribe and actually continue to watch you, I need some sort of guarantee of what experience I'm going to receive. Like when I was referencing the follower thing, follower counts over time get inflated and the viewership doesn't show up. I talked about this on a previous broadcast. There's broadcasters on here who have millions of followers and an average viewership of 2,000. It doesn't correlate because the people subscribe for a very particular thing at a particular point in time. So be very intentional out the gate with this is the vibe I'm bringing. Do not deviate from that unless you are going through a personal transformation and have that conversation with your audience. If you leaned into Minecraft, but you got sick of playing Minecraft, you have to have a conversation with your audience, explain why, and pivot and anticipate some of that audience won't follow you as part of it because they may only want that one thing from you. So
Absolutely.
it's something you have to always be an analysis of as you're
Mhm.
establishing.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to jump to our second question because I have a
Let's
good
do it.
answer for this one. This is
Great.
from your tech coach. Does anyone have a favorite emote creation tool? So for me, I do not create my own emotes. I hire a graphic design artist to do them. However, if you have emotes that someone has created for you and you need a free way to animate them, may I suggest makeemoji.com. This is not hashtag an ad, but dang, is that a good website? You can make them scroll, you can make them like zoom in, zoom out, flip. It's a great way to utilize what you already have. I know for me, I've done that with some of my more popular emotes. So I now have a still and an animated version of the same emote. And so it's a great budget friendly way to do that and one that I found very effective.
Yeah, and I think that ties well with the question about overlays. Once again, you can utilize services like that, or if you want to keep it simple, if you have access to a Photoshop or a Canva, or I know there's other various like free versions out there on the internet, your overlay shouldn't be overly dense when it comes to it. Think of like when you tune into some news channels and there's too much happening, it can be a distraction to your audience. You have to think about your broadcast in three components: your foundation, your additives, and your distractions. Foundation is your core, that's you. Additives, the game you're playing, the music that you're leaning into, whatever that be, that's your additive, and your overlays and your alerts. The distractions can be alerts if they pop off too much. If the sounds are constantly going off and it's becoming a distraction to you and your base, distractions can be the people in chat. There's different ways to like analyze this, but keep it simple at the start and expand for what elements you think is good. So I would tie that to the overlays question here from Crisis, who posted. The next question: how to market yourself on Twitch. So when it comes to marketing on Twitch, each of our spaces are isolated at the start, right? We each have our own channels. We are broadcasting to a category. Choosing the right category is an aspect of marketing. So if we think of marketing opportunities, there's a phrase called blue ocean. Like you're looking for a blue ocean opportunity, which means there's not many boats in the sea fishing for the same fish that you're fishing for, right? So if I'm choosing, like, let's say right now, if I went live into Monster Hunter Wilds right after this broadcast, I likely would not have much success because a lot of major broadcasters are diving at that game. I would have a better opportunity with perhaps a less dense category. So that's an opportunity for marketing. A second aspect, and this one is incredibly vital, is being a broadcaster on Twitch, also be a community member on Twitch. Be an active community member with other individuals. Showing up in the Only Ryan or showing up in Snackless introduces me to other community members who have like mind and have that shared experience. And so that is an aspect of marketing. You're not promoting your channel. You're not saying, "Hey, I'll be live after this," but your awareness of your name starts to become sticky with others in chat, and that is a means
Mhm.
of marketing. So I'll
Definitely.
plant that. It's networking, exactly as Homeless Ghost just said.
100% networking. We can dive more into marketing, and we do have that on our schedule for an upcoming episode. So we hope that you'll be able to catch that one. And actually, on that note, sections from this broadcast, as well as our future ones, will also be available on YouTube. So if there's something that you missed or something in particular you wanted to listen to us speak about, you'll be able to see those there in the coming weeks as they come up. And you'll be able to also follow up with information on Creator Camp. We're going to take one more question
Okay.
before we kind of wrap things up because I feel like this is a question that could be paralleled many ways. And the question is from Kev Malden. Is the built-in mic in a laptop acceptable, or is an actual mic a
Mm.
necessity? And the reason I choose this question is because you could actually ask that about anything. Is the lighting in my room okay, or do I need different lighting? Is this keyboard okay, or do I need a different keyboard? And so to that, I will say it is always okay to utilize what you have until you are able to do something different about that. Having
Yep.
something is better than having nothing. You heard me say that I streamed on console. My first PC was from a grungy gamer guy that I bought off of him for $200, and I had to scrub it down with Lysol. I'm not joking. I started streaming on a console, then I bought a used PC from a random dude. I wish I could tell
So,
you,
Snackless gets their equipment from
like,
behind 7-Elevens. I'm not saying that's what you should choose to do, internet, but Snackless did it.
I'm just being honest, okay? And it worked out, okay? It worked, okay? And
Hey,
then,
we
oh
all
my
start
god.
somewhere, that's true.
And then my chair, I'm so sorry to tell you this. I don't want to tell you this, but I'm going to be honest with you. My chair I got for free from a dump. So,
Hey,
I it was very embarrassing,
it
and
works.
I actually hated that chair, but it worked, and then my community felt so bad for me that they crowdfunded a chair because I was like, "I'm so embarrassed to be sitting on this chair." Anyway, it all worked out fine, and so the moral of this, me sharing where I my very humble beginnings, which I've never forgotten, are that you should always, to answer the question, the built-in mic in the laptop is completely acceptable, and using whatever you have to get started is completely acceptable. Make a goal, make a plan. Okay. If you know that audio is the one spot that you really need to improve in, make a wish list and put it on there. Put a goal on your stream, save up your money, make it a priority, and build as you go. It is okay to not have everything all at once. And just so you know, right now, past year, I built the most beautiful PC I've ever seen in my life. It's absolutely stunning. I'm so proud of myself. It's a huge accomplishment. You can start somewhere and get somewhere. You don't have to start with a used PC and always have that scenario. Don't feel like you're ever stuck. There's always somewhere we can go and always a way that we can grow. So,
That I drove my '98 Jeep Wrangler from Pittsburgh to Los Angeles when I decided I wanted to get into entertainment. It was beat up, but it got me there, and it got me into the ecosystem. And the same thing
mhm.
applies when it comes to PCs, broadcasting. Work with what you got, and you'll get there. And honestly, when your audience sees you going through the motions, getting the broadcast out there, getting the support, and then reassuring them like the support you're giving me is allowing me to get these upgrades. When my camera died during one of our backslash Twitch shows a few weeks ago, the audience support through my subs allowed me to get a new camera. And they know that. So like give them that validation of your support of me allows me to keep going, and they'll
Yes,
celebrate with you.
absolutely. That's really sweet. I want to thank you, Jay, for joining us on our first episode of Creator Camp Live. It was a total blast. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. That was really fun. I feel like we had some great conversations, and I'm very excited for our next episode. I want to let you know that you can check YouTube for recaps from today's show, as well as we kind of did a tester show actually last month. So if you're looking for a few more tips and tricks, you can absolutely find that content on our YouTube channel right now. And you can learn more about streaming on Twitch in general in our other monthly show called Patch Notes, and that one is on March 19th. And lastly, Creator Camp has a lot of resources on today's topics and more. So whether you're just starting out, you have many years of experience, or you're brand new, we know that you're going to learn something new by visiting Creator Camp. And I can't wait to push that update live next week. So please keep an eye on socials everywhere. If you're in the guilds or you're an ambassador, I'm going to be letting everyone know when that update goes live. So please check it out. Another big thank you to our production team behind the scenes. We really love and appreciate you, and we're grateful for all that you do to make this show happen, even if they don't have eyeballs on you. So thank you very, very much for everything. We are going to close out our show by rating Little Siha. She is one of our Twitch ambassadors. She is streaming American Truck Simulator right now. So that's what we'll be going. And thank you so much for everything. Thank you for watching. And we can't wait to see you again soon.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you.